Well, the big story is I got engaged last night.
Yeah.
Is there anything bigger here? No.
Well, which way would you like to talk about this first? I can just tell you how it all went down. Would that be the best intro to this?
That's what I want to know.
Because there are a lot of little layers to this, but we'll do that. So, by the way, we got engaged last night at about 6:10, 6:15 in the barn in my backyard. Which, by the way, E! News just posted a story, and the story says, American Idol's Bobby Bones is engaged to girlfriend Caitlin Parker. And in it talks about me doing a country music show, and we took a picture in Virginia in a cornfield because that's where I did my Nat Geo show, and I'm holding a thing of corn. I look like the most country bumpkin because it's like country artist. I'm in a cornfield. They don't say why. I'm holding a piece of corn up, and I am, but I thought that was funny. So I had set up for it had kind of been in the works for about a month. She had no idea. I wanted to surprise her. She thought it was coming probably Thanksgiving-ish, don't you think?
Yes.
Because Amy and Caitlin are super close. And Amy has known about it for the last couple of weeks. But so I wanted to do it in my barn. So what we're doing is we're actually renovating this old barn we have in the backyard. And I knew that would be a great cover for people going into it and setting it up for the proposal. So I told her, I said, hey, while we were away this weekend shooting my show in Virginia, I said, hey, they're working on the barn this weekend. They left some paint colors and samples in there. We need to go and let them know by Monday morning what color we want. I'm severely colorblind, so I said, hey, I need you to go with me and look at them, and we'll just send them a text and tell them what to paint inside of the barn. And so there was no paint colors, by the way. It was all
smooth.
But while we were gone that weekend, we had a friend of ours who does holiday, the inside houses for Christmas, the inside for Thanksgiving. I called her. I was like, hey, would you set up the inside of the barn? And so there were candles, there were all these plants, there were all this hanging stuff. It was great. And so we have security cameras all over our property, and you can look at them on the phone at any point. So again, I had to be like, people are going to be at the barn. So she was driving a truck that wasn't even hers to do it in case Caitlin looked at the cameras. Like, we had really covered ourselves. So we land from Virginia probably yesterday about 4:30. I had set up a dinner date with two of our friends, Keaton and Nick. And we haven't been out on a dinner date since before the pandemic started. And so I was like, okay, we're going to go to dinner. We're going to get dressed up, and we're going to leave. We need to be there at 6:40. And I did a whole fake text message with them going, hey, where's where we're going to go? And I picked the place to be pretty nice because I knew she would get dressed up to go to a nice place, and I didn't want her being proposed to not dressed up. So about 5 minutes before we're going to leave, I said, hey, oh, crap, we got to go down to the barn, and we have to look at this paint because I got to send it off tonight. And so she's like, okay. And it had been raining, and she was in heels. She was like, oh, I don't want to walk. I was like, it's fine. We'll just walk down there real quick. So we walked down to the barn, and she's just been like, hey, she wanted to make sure that I talked to her dad before I proposed, which honestly, absolutely. But I've been playing coy. I've been like, I don't know. I've been like, I don't know who I'm going to talk to. I'm not going to tell anybody. I said that we can tell him right after. So I'd been messing with her a little bit. Obviously, I'd already talked to her dad. And I said, hey, you still wondering about your dad? We're 10 feet from the door. I said, I've talked to him. She goes, you have? I said, yeah. I said, here, let's finish this, and I'll tell you more about it. So I opened the door to the barn, and I had to open the right door because on the left side of the door was Joe, my guy who does photos and video. They were set up over there to film the whole thing. So I opened the right side of the door, and it is just lined up with candles and plants and things hanging from the ceiling, and it's a trail going all the way down to the end at the back of the barn where there's this big white rug. And as soon as I opened the door, I'm talking as soon as she could look inside, she went, oh, and started crying just like that. And I was like, whoa, 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 not yet. So I grabbed her hand. I said, come on. And you can see, because I put on my Instagram at Mr. Bobby Bones, like the second picture on that swipe is her seeing it and realizing it and just covering her face. So we walked to the end, and I knew what I was going to say. I didn't have anything like written out, but I knew what I wanted to say because I felt it. And so I basically told her, I said, hey, before you, I kind of felt like I was broken. Like people that love each other was just in the movies, and or they were lying about it because I'd never experienced it. Never loved anyone like that. Never loved anyone romantically ever. And I said, before you, I just thought that was either a lie or something that the movies had. And I said, I don't feel that way anymore. And I think I told her I was obsessed with her. And then I told her I loved her very much. And then I got down on a knee, and then I opened up the ring, and she said yes, and it was great. I don't remember all of it fully because there was so much happening, is sensory overload. And so she's like, oh, and she's crying, and I'm like, well, all right, I'm not a one-trick pony. Let's get out of here. And she's like, what? And so our song, you can play it from the beginning, Ray. Our song, because we went to a Matt Carney concert in Oklahoma City for Valentine's Day. We went to watch the Thunder, but he's a friend, and he was playing in Oklahoma City. So I texted him, I said, hey, we're finishing the game here. Are you still on? He's like, yeah, come to the show. So we go to the show, like the last 5 or 6 songs, and she tells me that it was during this song, the final song, where she was like, oh, I think this is the guy I'm going to be with forever. But she told me that, 2 months later. So I've known for a long time. So because of that, this has been our song. I'm a big Matt Carney fan anyway. And it was during this song when he played it at the end of his show where she's like, okay. And she wrote a note to herself right then to remember it. Here's the song in case you weren't familiar with it. Come on and we'll see like we were. So we're walking up and the song was playing. Like we have a little area by our pool and the song's playing out loud. And she's like, oh, you're playing Matt Carney over some speakers. And I said, well, come on. Matt was playing. I got Matt to come and set up. And Matt was playing out on the little pool stage. He's playing the song. And she's like, oh, my God, Matt's here. And I was like, yeah. And so we walk up, and he goes, did she say yes? And I gave him the thumbs up. And then he played the song, and we danced to it, and we sang to it. And then it was amazing. And we walked back down the hill, and because we had nobody there, just for COVID reasons, I don't want anyone to come and get sick. There was no mass gathering. I mean, if anyone would have been there, Amy would have been there, and Amy wasn't there. She knew, but she wasn't there. And so we call Caitlin's parents because I talked to her dad and told him exactly when it was. Now, they live in Oklahoma, and I was like, don't feel like you have to drive 9 hours because no one's going to be here. We'll see you for Thanksgiving anyway. He was like, great. Well, he tried to text me while I was in Virginia shooting, but I was on set the whole time, and Caitlin was doing my hair and makeup the whole time. So she was never far enough away from me to talk to her dad again. And so Caitlin calls her mom after we're done. She goes, oh, she shows her the ring, and her mom was like, yeah, I knew. And her mom was like, we're like 5 minutes down the road. They drove all the way over.
Wow.
And hung out with us. And then her dad, who's an eye doctor, had to be back at work the next day. So then they drove back home. They were there for like 45 minutes.
Amazing.
That's special.
Her mom, her dad, and her sister, which was fantastic. So we made a bunch of calls, and she called to tell people, and I called to tell people. And then it was late, but we were hungry. So we still had that double date at like a small Mexican restaurant near the house. But yeah, then was just exhausted. So went back home, went to bed. Is pretty great. And then I looked at her. I don't think she slept very much last night. But yeah, that was it. And here we are in the end. But I'll tell you, Eddie knew because we were in the studio because Mike D and I got into a conversation about who was going to do it first. At first it was a bit on the show, like who's going to do it first. We didn't know when each other was doing it, Mike and I didn't. But later that day at my house, we're in the studio and I said, hey, Mike, I'm probably going to beat you proposing. And he goes, oh, no, I'm doing it in 2 days. And I was like, what? I was like, well, I'm doing it in a week in 2 days. And so Mike knew, and then Mike and I were talking about that. And it's like, Eddie doesn't have to leave.
I was already here.
Yeah. And so Eddie knew, and then I went, and I don't know much about rings, but I went to Genesis Diamonds here in Nashville, and they were fantastic. And I do some work with them already, but never for myself. What do I know except for what I read about what they have going on there? And so I went over, and I had to really strategically go because pandemic time, I only come to the studio, and then I go home. And Caitlin knows where I am at all times. So I really had to strategically, like I got a haircut once, and I had to like do it up against the haircut because I don't want to be gone too long. So she had no idea. So I go, and I don't know. I thought, this is how naive I was. I was like, well, 24 karat gold, that sounds like normal. So what's a 24 karat ring? And they're like, that's like $10 million.
Yeah.
I didn't know the carats were different in rings
And
gold. I still don't know the difference.
Oh.
So they taught me about the stone. So I picked out the stone, And I knew what shape that she wanted, but I wasn't sure. Like the band, I knew she wanted like a simple band, but I'd picked out the stone and I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. Well, so the second time I had Amy come with me to help me pick the band out because she was like, I knew Caitlin wanted no frills on the band, just what color is it?
It's platinum.
Like platinum colored. But Amy helped me pick the band out, and then sent it off. Took a few weeks to come back. I left it at the store for a while just in case. I was so covered in every way. But
Well, and I love too that the woman helping you with the ring, her daughter is a huge fan of the show. And I said something when we were leaving, hey, tell your daughter hi. And she said, oh, I will, but once the proposal happens, because she knew, I just thought that was super professional and awesome of her, because she knew if she told her daughter, hey, Amy and Bobby were in the store, then she might think, oh my gosh, Bobby's getting engaged. So everyone was like tight-lipped.
And I was worried about people tagging me at the store. So I got to the front door. Luckily, masks exist. I didn't take my mask off as I walked to a back room in the store, and then we shut the door. Because all it takes is one person to take a picture of me and tag Caitlin on Instagram.
That'd be terrible.
That would be terrible. So she was shocked. I was happy about that. It went great. Her parents showed up. It was Matt Carney.
That's awesome.
Came. It really was wonderful. So that's the story of it. We have some more little rivers we'll go down in a minute. But let me take Angelica in Wichita, Kansas. You are on the show. Angelica, how are you?
I'm good, Bobby. How are you?
I'm really good. What do you want to say?
Well, I want to say congratulations. I've been listening to the show for about 10 years, since before you guys even went country. So I've been with you through a few different relationships, and I'm just really excited for you. I saw the story last night, and I about cried because I was just so excited. So I just wanted to call and congratulate you and say that I'm super happy for you.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. You got so many nice
You're
notes.
welcome.
All the B team was just going nuts. I love them so much, and they were big text. It was just crazy. Just a fantastic night. You guys are welcome to call. Again, I was up a lot last night. I wanted to wait for Amy to get back in the studio today because she was here for a bit and had to go. But I wanted to wait till you got here to talk about it. You can ask all your questions.